There's a classic song that was written and performed by Jay-Z a few decades ago now, and it's a song that I believe Eric Adams can identify with very much. And that song is called It Was All Good Just a Week Ago. And it was all good just a week ago, wasn't it, Mayor Eric Adams? It wasn't that long ago that Mayor Eric Adams was inaugurated as the new mayor of New York City, in which he was very happy, wide eyed, and ready to take on New York City. And he was so happy and was so confident in his abilities and what he could do that he went as far as to deem himself the Biden of Brooklyn.
This is a great city, and I'm the Biden of Brooklyn. And I love the fact that the president is coming here. I met with him after the campaign, and we spoke, and we just connected, And I'm sure if you were to ask him what is his favorite mayor, he'll clearly tell you it's Eric. We just, just really like each other.
My, how things have changed, because it was all good just a week ago. So now, as the title of this political article reads, New York City mayor hasn't spoken to Biden since 2022 amid migrant crisis. Now, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't think too much of a title like that, or the fact that they haven't spoken since 2022, given that Biden is the president of the United States. And I would assume with that, he's a very busy man. And with all the issues that Mayor Eric Adams is dealing with in New York, maybe they just didn't have an opportunity to communicate. But when you factor in the way in which Mayor Eric Adams, over the first half of this year, was laying in on the Biden administration over the migrant crisis and over the fact that Biden has not done much of anything to assist Mayor Eric Adams, then it becomes a little bit more clear as to why they haven't spoken. And I believe, in my personal opinion, that neither one of these men like each other anymore. I believe that Eric Adams feels as if he's been played for a complete fool and is being used as nothing more than a political pawn. And on the other end, I believe that Joe Biden and company are looking at Eric Adams and saying, hey, man, this is what you signed up for, and this is part of the game. And what wasn't part of the game was you laying blame at the feet of our administration when we're trying to win another election. So now let's dive into this article by Politico for a little bit more detail. Mayor Eric Adams said late Wednesday he has not talked with President Joe Biden in 2023, a striking admission from someone who once was on a list of the president's top surrogates and who is seeking federal help for the city's migrant crisis. Adams told CNN that he and the president have not conferred since Biden was in New York last year, but added that his team has been talking with the White House and other immigration officials about the flow of migrants to New York City shelters. He said he still supports the president's reelection. I believe he's moving the country in the right direction, and we need to continue to move in the right direction, Adams said. I can separate what I believe is an issue that we disagree on. And what is that issue that they disagree on? That's my question. What could they possibly be disagreeing on? Obviously, the major problem between Biden and Adams is that Adams needs more money and he needs more assistance from the federal government. But Joe Biden isn't giving it to him, or at least not fast enough and not as much as he needs. And given that I believe that this is the disagreement that he and Biden is having, that Adams needs more resources and more finances, and Biden is simply saying no, this is what also leads me to believe, as I've stated in numerous videos, that Biden is deliberately withholding assistance from cities like New York and Chicago, deliberately putting these major cities in disarray so that come election time, this will be such a serious issue that's affecting millions of Americans across the country in these major cities that they will be running to the polls screaming for sweeping immigration reform that will put in motion a fast track to citizenship so that these cities will no longer be financially burdened by these so-called migrants. I do personally believe that this is a political chess move by the Democrats. But now let's get back into this article. The two initially seemed to hit it off. When still the Democratic nominee, Adams visited the White House and referred to himself as the Biden of Brooklyn. And in 2022, the year Adams officially became mayor, Biden visited New York several times, including an appearance with Adams about fighting crime and seizing guns. Ahead of the visit, Adams mused, I'm sure if you were to ask him what is his favorite mayor, he would clearly tell you it's Eric. In March of this year, Adams was listed among 20 Democrats who would sit on the National Advisory Board and serve as key validators for the president's bid for a second term. However, a month later, the mayor's frustrations with the asylum seeker situation boiled over. And at an April press conference, he said the White House had failed the city, a statement that kicked off weeks of pointed criticisms of the president from Adams on an issue that will be top of mind for voters during Biden's reelection campaign. In May, when the Biden campaign released a list of 50 surrogates for Biden, the outspoken New York City mayor was not among them. Joe Biden and his campaign kicked Mayor Eric Adams to the curb. The fraying of relations between the two comes as the city is taking on an ever-growing role in the migrant crisis. On Wednesday, Adams said his administration could spend up to $12 billion providing services to arriving asylum seekers, and again pleaded for assistance from the federal government, albeit in terms less hostile to the White House. And I have noticed that as well. When you watch Mayor Eric Adams' most recent press conferences, he is not as aggressive and hostile towards the Biden administration as he was a few weeks ago. But in my opinion, I think it's too late for all that. The Democrats are finished with Eric Adams, if you ask me. And I would be shocked and surprised if he ran for mayor again. And if he did rerun for mayor, I do not believe that the DNC will be backing him up. I think that it will be another situation like what we saw in Chicago, where essentially Lori Lightfoot reran for mayor, but she was running on her own. She didn't have the same kind of backing from the DNC that she had the first time around. And I believe that if Eric Adams runs for re-election, we'll see the same situation pan out for him, where he'll just simply be on his own. But only time will tell. So far, the mayor's entreaties to Biden for work authorization, funding, and more coherent resettlement strategy at the border have gone largely unanswered. That proves to me my theory is true, that Biden is deliberately starving these cities out. He is deliberately starving out New York City. He is deliberately starving out Chicago. He is deliberately starving out all of these sanctuary cities that are taking on all these so-called migrants purposefully to put these cities in disarray so that millions of citizens across the country will be screaming for the immigration reform that the Democrats actually want to put forward come the 2028 election. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. I also have a Telegram group now, so if you have Telegram, make sure to hit the link in the description box below as well as pinned in the comment section to join my Telegram group. And also, please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as an insurance plan for myself, so in case YouTube ever gives me the axe, I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And for those of you who have issues with joining Patreon, you can also hit the join button that's next to the subscribe button, and that way you can become an official channel member for as little as $3 a month as well. And lastly, if you haven't already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.